So true confession, I love Farmer Bob's goats.
My goats, I think they're your goats now.
Well, they kind of got into my heart. There's Horton, Cindy Lou Who,
Boo-hoo.
Boo-hoo, and there is Sammy.
They used to really aggravate you a lot.
That's because they're naughty. They eat my flowers. Women, feel me.
They're escape artists. There's no fence that can hold a goat in. In fact, when I first got the goats, people told me how these act. These are like 3-year-olds wearing goat suits because they're into everything, and that's been true.
That's true.
Too true. They get out of the fence every chance they get and eat the farmer's crops.
Yeah, and once I even got a call from a neighbor. I guess they decided to go on a field trip and plant themselves on their front porch.
Lots of calls from neighbors.
Yeah.
From the same neighbor. Poor neighbor. Poor neighbor.
And they eat anything they can get. They find boxes and paper and rip it into shreds. Tiny, itty bitty, minuscule shreds.
They even show up in the house uninvited once in a while. Moose, the dog, knows how to open the door because we have latches. And so he can open the door and they can get in.
In addition to being naughty, they're a lot of work. You have to clip their little toes. You have to feed them, clean their stall.
It takes me forever. The amount of work that I do for these animals.
No.
I help bottle feed them.
That's true. You did help bottle feed them.
I raised them in my little 10 fingers.
You let them sleep in your lap.
That was amazing.
You helped with the when they were learning to jump.
An old goat helping new goats survive.
The point is, I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them.
So much that we take them for walks. They
do.
love to follow us around like little puppies.
They're like dogs when we go for walks.
Little naughty puppies.
Very naughty puppies. And I like to just sit out in a field with them. They cuddle with me. Boo-hoo likes to be scratched. I know right where to do it.
And they love us. The mama was named Sour Kangaroo, not Sour Cream, like you just said off camera. But she was, her and Maisie were my first 2 goats, and they had these babies. And Sour Kangaroo was the leader. She was very naughty, and I think she's the one that led most of the escapes.
She's the naughtiest of all.
She made the plans.
She taught them how to escape. She was the leader of the pack, always at the front of the herd. And yes, very naughty, but she loved us too and proved that really at the very end.
Yeah, one day we were leaving for church and I noticed that Sour Kangaroo was at the front door, had escaped, but just by himself, or herself.
Herself, yeah.
And
when we approached, we could see that she had been there for some time. She'd been scratching on the door. She'd been scratching on the doorstep, trying to get our attention. And when I got close to her, I realized that she had bloat, which is when too much air gets into a goat's stomach, and it can be very deadly. And we worked really hard to save her. But that day we lost our matriarch, our sweet Sour Kangaroo. I remember that day Bob wrote the most touching post on social media. So many people commented that it meant something to them.
She was bloated and dying and came to the only place she knew for help. The vet came to see her, gave her some meds, and well, we're hoping she holds on and gets back to her mischievous ways. The thing is, for as naughty and persnickety as she acts, she knows we love her. There's something strangely wonderful about her thought process, her inner knowledge that we are just outside the pasture when she really needs us. Everyone needs to have a door they can knock on when they're at their worst, defeated and gasping for help. During these days when we receive at least one Chuck Norris-type roundhouse kick to the face per day of temporarily terrifying news from the NICU, it's deeply gratifying to know that we not only have a God waiting to help us, but also a community, a church, a circle of friends all over the world that stand ready to open the door and let us in to process our hopes and fears and remind us that God has always been in control, not the enemy, not even Chuck Norris.
Recently, there's been something called COVID-19, giving some roundhouse kicks to many of us. And in spite of all of that, I still believe there's a God waiting to help us. And there's a community of friends the world over, believers who are ready to rush to your aid. And so if you need a little help today, I just want to encourage you to knock on someone's door.